Well, welcome back to Got the Magnet, and you're in the car with Joe and Sue. And one of the things we've started doing is bringing you along on part of our road trip. So let us know how you like this. We're currently on our way from Kingsland, Georgia, which is right near the Florida-Georgia border. And then we're headed up to Philadelphia, but tonight we're stopping near Ashland, Virginia. And currently we just came from a rest stop in North Carolina. I believe it's the second rest stop on the northbound. The original plan was to stop at Buc-ee's near Florence, South Carolina. That didn't go well. Buc-ee's is very popular. We tried to get off, and it took us 3 lights just to get off the interstate. So we decided let's just get right back on the interstates and continue on. So we did stop at a Love's for gas, so we should be okay on gas to make it to Ashland. And we just stopped at a rest stop for picnic lunch. We had gone to Sonny's Barbecue last night, and that was good, and we had enough leftovers for lunch. And we had some guests at while we were trying to eat lunch, didn't we? So?
Guess so.
Yeah, we had some gnats and flies and mosquitoes and all. So we're going to need to start traveling with off before we get out of the car, just bathe ourselves. But I guess that's what's expected late June in North Carolina. So we're just logging the miles together. We really didn't do much yesterday. It was a rainy day in Kingsland. It started around noon. Went out to lunch at Firehouse Subs, and then went back to a hotel, got some work done. Tried to watch the USA soccer game, but the hotel, and I'm not sure what it is, it's a suburb of Jacksonville, they didn't have Fox on the TV. And then in the room, they had Fox News. Downstairs, they had FS1 and Fox News, but no Fox to be found. So later in the night, we were going to watch the truck race from San Diego in our room, but FS1 wasn't on there. So we went down to the lobby area, the breakfast area, and watched it down there. So you went back upstairs after the second stage, right?
I believe it was the beginning of third stage.
Okay. I blasted through the third stage, but at some point the lobby turned into a nursery. A bunch of people with small children came, and they decided, it was a good place for the children to play. So I went up to the room. I was tired anyway on that. So we were hoping to get footage of south of the border on the dash cam, but the GoPro was overheating, so we gave it a rest. South of the border used to be the main stop on 95. There were signs up and down 95, and it's really a shell of itself. I believe it's on its last legs. It's just something that has passed its time. So if you've been to south of the border, let us know what your thoughts on south of the border is. Is it still worth a stop, or just keep on going as we've done on the last couple trips with it? So yeah, the car's a little hot. The air conditioning, if you call one of our previous, we had transmission problems that have gotten fixed, but now we're having issues with the air conditioner. So I'm taking it to my regular mechanic on Tuesday. So it's going to be a hot trip up north. Today hasn't been bad. The temperatures have been pretty much in the 70s, but it seems to be getting a little more humidity. So we have the windows down. I apologize if there's any background wind noise. Yeah, let us know. Yeah, if you're regular on 95, do you have regular stopping points you'd like to hit? Kingsland, Brunswick area is usually, when we were in Philadelphia coming down, that was usually a good rest stop. It's about a 12-hour drive from the Philadelphia area. There's plenty of hotels, plenty of food choices, convenient to I-95. And if you're heading down to Disney, which a lot of people from the Northeast do, it's another 6 hours to there. So you can get an early start in the morning. You can get your hotel right around when you can get a room, or get a couple extra hours at Disney or Universal or SeaWorld. So you have any thoughts? No? Well, this was a big day for Sue. She got to drive. This was the first time since end of April she's driven a car. Was it like riding a bike?
Yes.
Just be a little quiet here. I'm in a heavy traffic area. And safety will be always number one. You got a Ford Explorer Expedition that wants to come past at a huge smile. If you see how fast he passed me, he was actually coming up faster. I had to slow down for cars already exceeding the speed limit. And just for reference, I'm doing about 70 miles an hour, which is probably a little bit over the speed limit. So I see the sign for Fort Bragg. We were down in this area a few years ago, and there's a museum in downtown Fayetteville, which is close to Fort Bragg, that has a special ops museum that was really good if you're in the area looking for something to do. And this looks like one of the areas where they just expanded to 4 lanes. Before we went on camera, we passed through a long construction site. Looks like they're expanding it, so it'll be nice when that's done. So yes, last night we dropped our final video on Explorer of the Seas. It was a 14-day cruise we took to Spain. We gave our pros and cons and overall review of it. So if you get a chance, check that out. We had done a separate video for most days of the cruise. There were a couple days where we didn't do a lot, so we combined the days on that. Next up, we're going to be dropping over the next couple days, the next week or so, the different places we stopped in Spain. We went to Barcelona, Ibiza, Valencia, Cordoba, Granada, Sevilla, and Madrid. So we have a lot of good things that we did over there that we'd like to share with you. And then after we're done in Philadelphia, we're here for some medical appointments and some catch-up type things. We're going to be heading out to Chicagoland for July 4th for the NASCAR race. But in the meantime, on the way, we're going to stop in Altoona, going to an Altoona Curve baseball game, and then also to Horseshoe Curve, which is one of the train spotting meccas, along with Folkston, Georgia, which we were just to. And tonight or tomorrow morning, we're going to go into downtown Ashland, which the train runs right through the downtown. We've been there a couple times. It's a really neat location if you're ever in the area. It's north of Richmond, and it's about a 20-minute drive from I-95. So it's a nice detour if you have some extra time. Right off the interstate, there's a bunch of restaurants you can hit, or downtown they have a lot of smaller restaurants and cafes. The weather's nice. They have some seating outside, and you can just sit and watch the trains go by. One of the highlights is that the auto train passes by there in the morning and in the late evening. And then if you can see there's actually a sign promoting North Carolina's train service. So after Chicagoland, we're planning to spend some time in Iowa. There's a rail bike in Boone, Iowa. We're going to be going to. We're going to hit the largest truck stop on, I believe it's I-80. Knoxville Speedway's out there, so we're going to catch a sprint dirt car race. So those big things. So let us know, if you have any suggestions for Iowa. Right now we have some flexibility on it. So just playing the Midwest portion of our trip before we head up to Canada and Vancouver and Alaska in August. So the plan is to do these videos a couple times a week. A lot of it's going to depend on how much driving we do. Because there's going to be certain times where we're not taking long car drives for a while, so we may not have these. But if people seem to like them and comment on them, this is really easy for us to do. And it's basically just pointing a camera, putting the microphones on, and talking. Which, as you can tell, I like to talk. This road is so much easier to drive during the day. We've driven this several times at night, both north and southbound. Because there's a whole lot of nothing around, it can get very dark, especially if there's cloud cover or not a full moon. You just seem to be driving into a leap of faith. Again, let us know if you have any questions about traveling. And one of the things that people about gas prices, and that's one of the reasons we just stopped at Love's. I'm a member of their loyalty club, and every time I get gas, I get 10 cents off a gallon, which does add up quickly. There's some weeks where we use a lot of gas and others where we don't use that much. Yeah, this is one where we've filled up twice today already, and we should have enough to get to Ashland, and we'll fill up before we head north on Monday, and that should get us almost home. South Carolina is generally one of the better places to fill up because they generally have the cheapest gas. Virginia also isn't too bad. Yeah, I think the cheapest and relative to the rest of the nation we found was North Texas near Amarillo. That was about half the price we had paid outside of Vegas. So it's a Saturday afternoon. I was hoping to go to Buc-ee's because from what I've heard and experienced, Buc-ee is actually there on Saturdays and you get your picture taken with him. But the amount of traffic going in there, plus when we drove past, there were a lot of cars in the parking lot, so it wasn't worth the stop. We've been to many Buc-ee's and we'll be to Buc-ee's again, but it just wasn't the right day. It was outside Florence and it's right on the way to Myrtle Beach. So a lot of people stop to pick up snacks and that type of thing on their way to Myrtle Beach if they're going down for the week. Come on, you got it. I guess they heard you missed the road construction previously, so they added some just so you can see it. And I am going to be especially mindful of the speed in construction zones because earlier this year we did get a speed camera violation for going a few miles over the speed limit. And earlier today, we did stop at Peach World. There's a couple locations off of 95, and picked up some peach wine, some peaches, peach salsa, and then some loose tea bags so we can make our own peach tea. So all the years of driving down, seeing the signs, as we finally stopped, this way we can bring some peaches back and forth with us. Also stopped at Waffle House. This was the first time since January we had been to Waffle House. Waffle House, the food's always good. It's always interesting. I forgot how good their bacon is. I believe it's Smithfield bacon, but there's something special about it. So I don't know if you can see that sign, but it's about the Love's Rewards. So your first fill up, you get 25 cents off, and then each one you get 10 cents off. Man, on one of these trips, we're going to have to just stop at a lot of these small towns. Just saw an advertising for Benson, North Carolina. And there's a lot of history, a lot of neat things down in this area. Now that we have time, we can explore some of them rather than just passing through on our way to Florida, as we've done in the past. There's I-40. Earlier this year, we spent a lot of time on I-40, mostly out west in Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. We'll probably be on it again later this year. But we are going to try and knock a bunch of states off of our list. So far, we're going to have Illinois. Sue's never been to Colorado. I was out there for a convention. Then the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Again, I was in Wisconsin for work. So hopefully by 2028 that we'll have hit all 50 states. Because we're taking a cruise from Seattle to Alabama in October. So part of that, we're going to spend some time in Washington State, Oregon, and Idaho. I'll have to try and hit Wyoming and Montana. And it's probably just going to leave the two northeast states of Vermont and Rhode Island. Okay, this is one of those parts of 95 where you're just logging miles. 95, if you haven't driven it, there's various components of it where it goes through Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and it's white-knuckle driving. And then other parts through the Carolinas, you get a lot of just logging miles. You can put it just on cruise control. It's got a little busier, but when we first started driving this 30 years ago, there wasn't much in South Carolina. I still remember the one where we were driving late at night. It was around midnight. Back when we were younger, I could do stupid stuff like that. And there was nothing. Then all of a sudden, we hit a huge traffic jam. Here, there was a Honda plant that had shift change. So they created their own traffic jam. Let us know in the comments, when you drive on a road trip, how long do you usually drive per day? Do you try and do 8 hours, 12 hours, more than 12 hours? If you're driving from the Northeast down to Orlando, do you just try and get it all done in one shot, or do you break it up? Also, let us know if you'd like to see more of these driving videos without us talking. because we can just set them up and then you can just be watching. We have a microphone in the back that picks up the ambient noise. Occasionally you get some radio bleed through, but it's primarily just the sound of the car driving. So let us know if you like that type of thing. Yeah, the Buc-ee's in Florence is the northernmost one on 95. I don't think they have any plan off of 95 in the near future. There is one in Virginia over off of 81 and near Harrisonburg, near James Madison University. There's several in the Midwest. There's been rumors for years they're going to be putting one in Pennsylvania near Harrisburg, Lancaster area, near the Pennsylvania Turnpike. As far as I know, there's not much validity to it, or there hasn't been many developments. Like I said, we're going to be in the Chicago area for 4th of July weekend. Just let us know what your plans are for 4th of July weekend. Yeah, if you're heading to Philadelphia, we're lifelong Philadelphians. So if you have any questions about Philadelphia, put them in chat and we can either answer them there, or we're going to be recording another video early next week. We can answer them there. Yeah, one of the things is with Philadelphia is like, well, where can you get a cheesesteak? Good cheesesteak. Certain ones get all the press. They're all really good. It's going to be hard to find a bad cheesesteak, so don't get wrapped up with trying to find the best one.
Sacramento there too.
Yeah, Philadelphia is hosting. They're one of the World Cup venues, and I read this online. Again, with the internet, always trust but verify. They said there is a possibility July 4th there's going to be a knockout round game. I want to say it's the quarterfinals where the U.S. could play England, Britain in the quarterfinal match in Philadelphia on July 4th. How much more symbolic could that get? And knowing Philadelphia, the Brits may have had a better time during the Revolutionary War than they will have in Philadelphia. Because Philadelphia fans have a well-earned reputation. It's a tough place to play. It's a tough place to visit for visitors, but Philadelphians are very nice if you can get under the shell. One of the best stories I heard that describes what it's like to visit Philadelphia. It was when the Phillies were playing the Padres in the playoffs a couple of years ago. And somebody from San Diego was telling the story that he was wearing his Padres hat. Somebody came up to him and said, "You suck, the Padres suck, everybody you ever met suck." Well, after he got that out of his system, he said, he was as nice as could be. He gave me some tips on where to visit and wished I had a good journey. And it's like, that sums up Philadelphia. Let them get their hostility out, and they're pleasant. Don't take it personally. So I'm seeing all these places, and this is actually one of the, I'm trying to think of the word I'm looking for. It gave me the idea for doing this, because driving past all these, you see all these places that, that looks neat, but you drive on past. I want to start stopping at them. So let us know, what are these unsung, under the radar museums, visitors centers that we should definitely check out. And we're not opposed to doing places designed for children. We are children at heart. Just need to get over. Like when we were over in Madrid, we went to an immersion museum where they had little balloons that you were supposed to knock around and kick. It was sort of like a giant playroom. Well, Sue and I were in there with a bunch of kids, and we were having a grand old time. Just drove past a Chick-fil-A, not sure if it came up on the camera, but it's very rare you pass by a Chick-fil-A that is not packed.
Looks like they're probably just open.
Yeah.
So nobody knows about it yet.
Yeah, so just saw a sign for historic Union Station, and one of the facts I learned a few years ago is why there's so many train stations in the United States called Union Station. It has nothing to do with labor unions or anything like that. Back when they were built, there were many different rail lines, and it was a shared terminal. It's where the different lines united, and they've just stuck with the name Union Station. It's one of those things that common sense, but I had never realized it. So somebody wanted to get over, but they didn't want to go that fast. I assume you didn't need to stop at the rest stop?
No. After you drive by it.
Yes, I know. How are we doing on time?
$40-something.
Okay. So, yeah, the files on the GoPro, which we're recording this on, last a little over between 50 minutes and an hour, so that's what we're going to try and leave them to. So we'll have more 10 minutes more with sticking with us. So, yeah, hopefully you're sticking with us and you're enjoying this conversation. I've seen truck drivers do this where they post videos and they just have a live stream. Let us know if that's something you'd be interested in, where one of us could be driving, the other could be monitoring this on the iPad. We can answer some interactive questions. Yeah, one of the issues we're having right now is we're doing a lot of neat things, too many to post the content. That's why we're backed up a little with our videos. So this is a good way to stay engaged, let you know what we're up to, answer your questions. And if you've watched this before, we do have a wide range of interest. I mean, right now, we seem to be on a train spotting kick, where with Folkestone Funnel, Ashland, Horseshoe Curve, but we're also going to a couple NASCAR races this year. We have Chicagoland, Las Vegas, and Miami. We have about 5 cruises booked. We have other miscellaneous activities. Going to hit some national parks up in the Dakotas. And we may become residents of South Dakota. Apparently, they make it fairly easy for full-time travelers. So if you or anybody has experience of becoming a South Dakota residents, please let us know in chat. We'd love to hear your opinions on it. And then early next year, we're planning to go back to Europe for a month or so, then Asia and Australia. So we have a wide range of activities. Probably between cruises later this year. We have an annual pass at Disney, so we'll probably go back there. Yeah,
so
check
December.
In November, December. Yeah, check out the new Muppet roller coaster. And I think the new Soaring Over America, I think that's going to be there through the end of this year. And then if we become monetized on YouTube, which is a good time to remind you to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, share it, so we can become monetized and start making money at YouTube and other income. We may go to Mickey's holiday party, which is always a lot of fun. So the goal is to lightly edit these videos, if at all. The only time we're really doing editing is if we give out personal information by mistake, or say something we shouldn't. But for the most part, we're just going to drop these and see if they take off. So you're going to get behind the scenes thing of stuff we have planned, because I like to kick ideas around. You always forget what a long state North Carolina is until you drive it. I think we still have about another 200 miles to go. At least we're heading in the right direction.
The exit goes up.
I'm sorry?
Why? The exit goes up?
No, but I saw the sign for Richmond. So, okay. Well, I guess we're going to end it here. We're coming up on time, and I'm not expecting anything else exciting to happen. So thanks for joining us. Remember to like, subscribe, share this video. Any comments, any suggestions on where we should go, let us know if you're enjoying these videos. Because as I said earlier, they're easy for us to do. I'm driving anyway, like talking. Okay. So until next time, thanks for joining us.